But we're going to talk about how I should have started, how I think other people should start, and then how that's going to flow outward. And it's going to start with your personal, like, studio development website. Generally, you want to start your website and have it in place about as soon as your first game is in the stage where you've got visual stuff to look at. Like, you wrote a design document, fine. If you have some decent artwork or maybe a basic prototype or something, you need to be online at the very least. If you don't have a website yet, you don't have a designer, or you're not a web person or whatever, get hosting and a domain in place and do something like go to GoDaddy or somebody who has like a one-click WordPress install. I think that's a phenomenal way to get online and give yourself a way to update whoever's coming to the site on a regular basis. Because the important thing is, you got a place where your info is, you got a place somebody can look up the game, and you have some way to put out routine updates.
Yes.
Are you with me?
100%. Get yourself a good website. That's what I want to see when I'm looking at a game. I know I want to see a website.
We know people who do a lot of different kinds of creative things, bands, companies, businesses, comic books, and all sorts of stuff in our network of friends and acquaintances. People tend to pick an odd corner of the social media sort of net, and from that corner, they sort of run everything. Like you said, a Facebook page or an Instagram or a Twitter account. But I am of a mind that you need to start with the website. The benefit of this is when you start with the website, you have great content that's just going to flow outward, and you can put it everywhere you need it. If you've got great artwork, that obviously lends itself very well to putting together an outstanding website. You know, your concept art and your promotional material and all the stuff you are writing down as development updates. I mean, that stuff all makes very good website content that can easily be adapted for Facebook, spit some of that out on Instagram, whatever. But I don't think it's a good idea to go to one of those other corners and just stay there.
Yeah.
So I want to share some things that make great website content. One of them is obviously like routine blog posts, and you can call them whatever you want. Development updates, community updates, whatever they are, but there needs to be an ongoing dialogue from you to the audience, letting them know this thing's underway, we're working on it, we're working hard, we are considering how it's coming across to you, and here's what you can look forward to. The better you are at this, I think the better shape you're going to be in when it's time to release.
Just shows that it's moving along. Everybody wants to see that. Keeps the hype going a little bit.
Yeah.
There's always this balance between how much content's too much to put out too in certain areas, and when it's not enough and you're just posting spam. But I'm sure that's coming later.
This is a balance you have to strike. Yeah, don't overdo it. I'm not going to harp on that too much.
Yeah.
Use common sense. Like, if you know you're just doing, like, John took a bowel movement today and broke the toilet. You know, it's don't update people about that.
Yeah, it's just that was a huge pet peeve of mine. When you see somebody's projects going, it's like they feel the need to constantly put out content, and you should. The trick is you just don't start spam posting this stuff. That you make it meaningful. You make your community updates on your site just very meaningful and dense. And some guys are really good, depending on the game I've even seen, depending on what game I'm following. Some of them can be quick and could come in faster succession and keep people excited. And some of them are more like these several paragraphs and real detailed. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's a thing yet or a trend anyone's noticed, but from what I can tell is like it fits certain games differently. It's cool to see that, like how they reach out to the community and you go, hey, this is happening.
Yeah.
You know? And
you mentioned, letting people see the progression of the game. Another good way to do that is as soon as you've got something playable, do some streams. Do some streams that you can host on the website. Nothing wrong with that. Game development on Twitch is starting to become a real big thing, and you can either do like work sessions that are streamed if you've got stuff that people can see that you don't mind not keeping under wraps, or you can just have community managers jump on with a controller and go like, here's the first level, or here's the thing we're playing with these mechanics. Like, streams are a good way to bring people to your door because, inquisitive minds want to know. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, streaming's cool. Streaming's going to do something pretty neat. Not to talk about that right now, but it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger all the time, but studios and developers should be in on that stuff. Another one I have down, the good old-fashioned newsletter. If you're doing, whether you're doing a WordPress site or a big giant custom marketing project website, you can start a newsletter totally free. I started one with MailChimp. And that's one of the bigger ones. I don't know the names of all of them, but it should be no problem to go out and find a newsletter provider that will let you start for free. And when your audience reaches a certain size, it's going to be well worth whatever they're asking for to expand that list and keep in fairly constant contact with people. If in fact you've got a set schedule, if you don't know when something's going to be done, don't bother people every week. But if you're on a schedule and something's coming in 6 months, let people know what's going on. Hit their email with it. I usually don't mind something like that if people are keeping it reasonable.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I didn't even know there were services like that. That's an awesome thing to utilize.
In my case, I started a real basic newsletter through MailChimp. Like I said, I put the form up on my website, and then I offered to do sort of an AMA on Facebook for a group after my stuff's all educational, so it doesn't all apply the same way, but I agreed to go and answer people's questions and talk to them about my experiences and what my product was and how things worked, how it might benefit kids of a certain age or what have you. And then I said at the end, like, by the way, I've got another project in the works. I haven't talked about it anywhere but here, and I'm going to be putting out regular updates on this. And if you want to go to my website, sign up for the newsletter, great. And several people did. Awesome. It's definitely worth it to do that.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, that was a really good tip.
Another thing I put down was podcasts. I know several studios who do their own podcasts.
I think I could see that being really cool. A kind of a loosey-goosey way to do a community update.
Yeah, it's one of these things you either know right away if it's the sort of thing that's for you or it's not for you. That probably strikes fear or at least great discomfort into a lot of people. Don't do it. Don't worry about it. No big deal. But if you've got a couple of people who would like to fire up a couple of mics, goof around, maybe once a month even, whatever you want to do, have some fun, put out some updates that way. I think that's pretty good. There's one noteworthy studio here in St. Louis called, I believe, Butterscotch Shenanigans, and they have one of the most popular game development podcasts. Depending who you ask, they're either above us or below us. So I think iTunes, they're well above us because they've got a bunch of subscribers. But I hear they run a really great show. From project to project, they just have this ongoing thing.